The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Gwe, Jalasi, and Hosts Julie. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Pellissier Lush. I'm the current Poet Laureate of Prince Edward Island, and I would love to welcome you to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Eastlink Community TV is dedicated to celebrating the rich history of the First Nations people of Epekwitk. In the coming weeks and months on this program, we will be celebrating our culture and speaking to people making a difference in our communities. Now, I'll let my co-host introduce himself.
Great, Jalasi and Richard. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Very thankful to be here in another beautiful episode of Voices of Epekwitk, and so tremendously honored and thankful to be having our next guest here today, the most amazing and beautiful Kelly Sark, and I'll let my mom introduce again.
Gwe, welcome, Kelly. Thank you so much for agreeing to join our amazing program here today. And just as a little background, Kelly is a Lennox Island band member here on PEI. She's lived here her whole life. Well, I think she was away for a little bit, but the majority of her life she's lived here on PEI. And we're so happy and honored to have you here today. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
Now, one of the first questions I was thinking, because when I look at our community members in Epekwitk and Lennox, and I was thinking, who are the role models? Who are the ones who are making a change for the better for our communities? And I've seen some videos of you with making bannock in the sand, and I've seen different things and events that you've taken part in. And one of the first things that I thought that would be really beneficial for our viewers to understand is, what does your culture mean to you, Kelly?
My culture means a lot to me. It just tells me who I am as an Indigenous person. It tells me how far my people have come through all the trauma and through all the great times too. It's my identity, so it means a great deal to me.
Yeah, it definitely shows tremendously amount how much your identity is a Mi'kmaq, proud Mi'kmaq, strong, resilient woman to put these out in the culture and traditions, and not only teach anybody around you, but teach the youth around you as well. I think the next question would be like, how do you like to share? How do you want to share all these traditions that's been passed down to you to perhaps your children or other youth around? You know, what are some things that you like to share?
I like to share my style of dance, my language. I like to get youth introduced to a lot of our Mi'kmaq language here in Lennox Island, because it's not a lot of people speak it fluently, and I hope to see that more in the future. But in general, I like for our Maui-Omis, it's a great place to spread awareness. Nowadays, awareness is key for understanding. We want people to understand where we come from and how far we come. We do not want to have that pity. We just want to be understood.
Now, we just, not that long ago, had our first powwow here in Lennox Island, and it's the first one that we've been able to have since before COVID. And when I think of what the powwow means to me in terms of just being able to share, and I think of your generation, and I think of what it means to you. So what does having our Maui-Omi, being able to come back after almost 3 years of not being able to have any gatherings at all, And now all of a sudden you see them all over the Atlantic now, where the powwows are starting to pop up again, which is amazing. What does it mean to you to be able to have them come back?
It just means that I'm allowed to be who I am as an Indigenous person because not long ago, um, it was illegal to be First Nations. It was illegal to be Ilnu. So nowadays we're allowed to be Ilnu, and I'm very proud of where I've come from as a Mi'kmaq person.
What do you feel would be the biggest challenges and misconceptions about our First Nations youth here on PEI when you see things on the media or on social media, on the news and in the papers? What do you feel are some of the biggest challenges and misconceptions about our First Nations youth?
A lot of it about mainly like how our youth is like how they identify themselves as, um, like our two-spirited, entering the powwow circle, and one of the major blocks would be not having enough Mi'kmaq resources, language resources. We do have some apps and stuff like that, but I mean, like, language is like some of our youth used to be scared to speak Mi'kmaq because they were either shy or they were embarrassed because they would say the wrong word, or um, they like other people would be like, "You're not Mi'kmaq if you don't speak your language," and that's not the case because we're Mi'kmaq regardless. We're just trying to revive it all back, and I think that's where it starts too with the language.
Are there any opportunities in Lennox Island to try to relearn our language?
When I was a kid in elementary, we didn't have it, but nowadays they have it there in John J. Stark School. They have they have Mi'kmaq class. They teach them about the seven sacred teachings. They teach them about Orange Shirt Day. We have like tremendous amount of information going into that school for our kids that I didn't have when I was a kid, and it's really great to see, um, to the point where they're even introducing it into junior high and high school now. So it's a good start, and I'm glad they're getting it done because when I was younger, I always hoped that whenever I had kids, I hoped that they would have that in their school because I didn't have it. And you could see a big shift in the way our kids are growing, like our youth. When I was growing up, there wasn't a whole lot about who I was or where I come from, my language. Because I know the youth in my age weren't very so proud. They were just like, meh, we're just trying to survive. But our youth here, like my kids in their age group, 10 and 11, they're just so proud. Like they're so proud, strong-willed people. And um, my elders often told me that our way of thinking is going to be stronger. Uh, we're going to be more proud, and I can see that in the youth here in Lennox, especially in my kids.
Oh, those are amazing answers. Thank you so much, Kelly. Now we're going to take a short break here, but be sure to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Welcome back to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I'm Julie Pellissier Lush and my wonderful co-host Richard Lush, and we are here interviewing Kelly Sark in Lennox Island, PEI.
Now, I feel like our next question, because you talked so wellly about, the youth being engaged and being proud of who they are and finding their identity. How important is the relationship between the Mi'kmaq youth and their elders? How important is that?
Oh, it's very important. Our elders are our knowledge keepers. They know a lot about our teachings and our way of life. They hold so much stories because they're often storytellers too. So our elders are very important to our youth. our youth have to take the chance and the opportunity to sit and talk with them at any chance they can, because when our elders pass on, that all their knowledge goes with them, and it's up to the youth to take all that knowledge in and pass it on to the next generation. So it's very important that they have that maintain that relationship with their elders.
I see that in the recent past, you've been working with the Aboriginal Women's Association of PEI as the MMIWG2S programming person, and it's very close to my heart as well. I've sat on a lot of different committees and gone to Ottawa just as a voice for Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirited. Now, how when you worked with there, what did you find? How did you feel that it was? Why is this so important to continue to be talked about in our communities and beyond in the broader community? Why is it so important to keep talking about the MMIWG2S?
To keep all the women and the men who's gone missing, to keep their names and their voices alive, because they do matter. We matter. We are people. We're human. Working at the AWA was very rewarding. At the same time, it was very hard. It's a hard subject to talk to with clients about people who have gone missing or murdered. But it's very important, like I said, because often their voices get lost in social media, throughout the news. People just stop talking. Like it's not that they don't care. It's just the news. It's how they run. But it's important to keep those people's names out there and keep pushing the information and asking. So as the coordinator there, I was given a task to connect with other social networks across the Atlantic Canada. It gave me a lot of opportunity and connected me with a lot of amazing people, which gave me a lot of tools to work with as well. So I started working with this task force for the MMIWG2S. It's the duties for the MMIW coordinator in case somebody goes missing. It's a toolkit, and I hope to develop it and get it out there across the Atlantic Canada to other MMIWG coordinators as well. And at the time, I was experiencing a loss myself, so it really hit really close to me. It gave me a lot of motivation to work hard on that toolkit, and it gave me a lot of motivation to like assist other families out there who were going through the same thing. And it was very easy to talk to other people because I could relate in a lot of ways. So it's very rewarding at the same time. So helping people, it's just always in me to help other people.
Jumping back and forth here, you're very youth driven. You're all about making sure our kids have an opportunity to learn the language the best as you can and the best that the teaching's been passed down to you. What do you feel like one of the most important issues facing our Mi'kmaq youth are here in PEI?
I would say educational wise, I know some of the youth who are trying to get into Holland College or university, and they're hitting these roadblocks about funding. Not all our youth are picked to go to get to their education, so they would have to wait a few years, even if they still want to go. That's up to them. But I mean, like, there's that block. Especially youth who are driven to do things in the moment. You have to encourage them, constantly encourage them to keep going. If not, then they won't want to go anymore. Um, Another issue would be, um, I guess it would be like not enough youth workshops. Because when I was a youth, we had so many conferences I attended for youth conferences and stuff, like for cultural walks, medicine walks, ceremonies. There's not a whole lot of that here in Lennox. There's not a whole lot of ceremonies here in Lennox anymore, like it used to be when I was a kid. Um, so I think that's one of the main issues is not enough ceremonies here, not enough teachings, and not enough basically just ceremony. Ceremony is life.
No, that is so true. And I see that, I know of a lot of youth who were so fortunate to grow up with different programming wrapped around them to help them and make them strong and learn who they are. And I think we need to sort of refocus because our youth are our tomorrows, aren't they? And when I see the youth struggling, I know, like, even when I hear things on social media with different powwows and events that are actually not allowing our two-spirited people to dance how their spirits are telling them, it's really hard. Like, and that sort of adds another level to our youth when they have things that they need to stand up for and pull for. But I know that when you worked at the cultural center, I could see some of the programming you did in terms of bringing people back. Like, got to see you making the bannock in the sand, which was amazing. And I think that so many of our youth should have the opportunity to take part in just events like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that was like one of my favorite jobs here in Lennox. We got to revive an old teaching from our ancestors, I guess from our great grandparents. Used to tell stories about how they used to make bannock in the sand. Jamie Thomas took it upon herself to recreate that progress, and it turned out pretty good after a lot of trial and error. We got it down packed, but to see the faces on the tourists that come by, um, they're just mind blown. They're like, "You're gonna make bannock in the sand? Like, how do you not get sand on the bannock?" And they tell them like, "There's a big process to it. Like, you need to put like a lot of flour on the bottom, put the dough in, put more flour on top, so the outside of it only gets burnt, and it's just the flour. And you just take the flour off, and then you just have your whole bannock, your bread." The kids really enjoy it too. They come over to the culture center. They do bannock on a stick, and they really enjoy it, the taste of it. So working there was very it's a very special place for me because a lot of people from all over the world will go there just to listen to us speak about who we are as Mi'kmaq people, how far we come, about the residential school, bringing awareness, um, as how beautiful our people, our community are. Um, and another thing about the two-spirited, um, that conflict, that issue there with dancing. I always been told that two-spirited people are the most sacred people beings out there because they can fulfill both roles, the male and the female. Um, so I think there's a little bit of a lack of awareness about that with new youth that don't understand. So when they don't understand, they just lash out. Versus people who already know about it, I think it needs to be talked about more. Um, and it needs to be talked about more.
Mm-hmm.
So other people will know about two-spirited people and who they are as people, and how sacred they are.
Well, I love that. That's a perfect answer, Kelly. And now we're going to take another short break here, but be sure to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Welcome back to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I am Julie Pellissier Lush and my wonderful co-host Richard Lush.
Now, as we're progressing through this amazing interview, you speak so well and always make me so proud. But I feel like as you being an advocator, such a strong voice, and a strong Mi'kmaq woman, recently there's a new movie that come out called Prey. And I know we both have watched it together. So it was to have such Indigenous representation on a national screen, what do you feel like the importance is of Indigenous people being represented, even if it's in an action movie or whatever, even in a strong female lead role being represented in the movies. Well, how do you feel? Is that important for our youth to see? Is that important for our communities to see that?
Yes, especially for the little girls. It teaches little girls and women in general that there's nothing in this world that they can and cannot do. Um, there's no boundaries to the duties of what women can and cannot do. It's very like motivational and inspirational in many ways. It it makes you feel proud to know that they represent us pretty well, especially in that movie too, because there's nothing in the movie that I seen that I didn't agree with. Um, I know back then the men would always go out and hunt and fish or hunt um, or war parties. Um, and when she went out and she went against everybody's word about not going and how she should just stay home. And she just went anyway. She reminded me of me because you can't really tell me no, especially when I want to get something done. Um, with that, that movie is really good. I really enjoyed it. Um, it just teaches a lot of young ladies that they can do whatever they want if they put their mind to it.
Now, I've been very fortunate to be able to have you as a friend on social media, and I've been able to see sort of this evolution. Whenever you create a new regalia, you'll showcase the regalia and talk about it a little bit on social media. And it's a way for people beyond our community to hear and learn more of these stories about what our ceremony is, what our culture is, what are our traditions. And I thought maybe this might be an opportunity for our viewers to be able to hear and learn a little bit more of it. So if you could tell me what regalia you're wearing now, what dance it is, and what it means to you, because I mean, there's a lot of people who might not have even ever gone to a powwow, let alone know what it means to us as Indigenous people and how special and sacred they are for us. So what is your regalia right now that you're wearing, that you're going to be wearing at the next powwow?
I have two. I have an old style fancy. It's a white one and it's beautiful. Represents a butterfly. And I have a woman's jingle that I'm working on. So I'm just getting the jingles on it now. I'm trying to get as much as I can on it. Um, the jingle dress is a healing style dance. It isn't Mi'kmaq. Um, this old man had a vision how to heal his daughter because she was very sick and there was nothing any medicine man could do to help heal her. So this man had a vision of making a dress out of these cones and to hold his granddaughter in his arms and walk around the arbor with her. And each time they walked around the arbor together, she began to get better um, until she was able to dance on her own. Um, so that's where that so that's what the jingle dance represents. It's a healing dance. Um, and it's for prayers, and prayers are very powerful. They work in their own ways, but they do happen over time. That's why they always say prayers are very strong. So right now I'm dancing jingle and woman's fancy.
That is amazing. Well, I would just like to take a moment and thank you, Kelly, for taking time out of your day to come and share your knowledge and your wisdom. And we truly appreciate and know that you are definitely one of our change makers and role models in our communities.
Thank you, Julie, for having me. I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you continue to make waves. And thank you.
And with that, I'm going to have to say, thank you to everyone here for being a part of our amazing show today, Voices of Epekwitk with Eastlink Community TV. Now be sure to tune in again next time to see our next episode of our Community Change Makers.
Gojo walking na, 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 gojo. Gojo walking now, 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 gojo. Goju walking now, 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 goju.